Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fourth meeting of the Board of Trustees of the New York City Public Housing Preservation Trust. I'm Lisa Bova Hyatt, Chair of the Trust's Board of Trustees. As the first order of business, it's my honor to take the role of the trustees present. Please answer present or here when your name is called. Karen Blondell.
Present.
Pamela Campbell.
Present.
Baba Hom.
Present.
Anika Lescott Martinez.
Present.
Barbara McFadden.
Present.
Maria Torres Springer.
Present.
With 7 trustees present, including myself, we have a quorum. Ms. Lim shall assist me in holding and carrying out today's meeting. Ms. Lim, you may proceed with today's agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first item on today's agenda is the approval of the minutes from the November 22, 2023 board meeting.
Unless there are any questions, I move that the board adopt this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
The minutes from the November 22, 2023 board meeting are adopted. Thank you, Madam Chair. The next item on the agenda are the chair's remarks.
Good morning, everyone. At today's meeting, the Trust will continue the tradition of meeting every second month and reporting on an impressive set of accomplishments. I certainly don't want to steal Vlada's thunder, but we had a very, very exciting end of 2023 with the Trust vote at Nostrand. It was incredible to see the turnout. Over 50% of eligible voters took part in the election, and I am very much looking forward to hearing a little bit more about that in detail, and also hearing about the Trust's work as they continue to build out their organization and deliver on their commitment made to NYCHA residents.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next item on the agenda is the President's report to be presented by President Vlada Knef.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Our work continues in building out our new organization. Since adoption of basic procurement policy during our last board meeting, we've continued our work and research to enhance this policy. If you can go back one slide, please. Over several weeks, we've endeavored to reach out to procurement executives across capital agencies to capture lessons learned and incorporate them into our own. We asked them to share what they would have done differently if they had to start with a blank slate. We got incredible feedback from agencies like School Construction Authority, Department of Design and Construction, MTA, Economic Development Corporation, Mayor's Offices of Contract Services and Workforce Development. As a result of these conversations, we've added policy around vendor responsibility, board approval, and grievances, and clarified our document throughout. Lisa Lim, our board secretary, will present the resolution later in this meeting. As a part of the procurement policy, we've committed to report out at board meetings on contracts above $20,000 that are not subject to board approval. Since the adoption of the procurement policy, we have our first contract with design and branding company, DBC, and I'm proud to say it's an MBE. So that's our first contract. I'm also very grateful to Lisa Bova Hyatt and NYCHA for working with us to execute the shared services agreement. Another item for adoption this morning, my team and I now have clear terms with NYCHA around facility use, services from NYCHA around accounting and treasury, IT, support, and this is a 10-year agreement with flexibility to terminate and switch if the two organizations deem it more cost-effective or necessary. All right, we'll go to the next slide. And our careful and speedy preparations in the last 4 months are not in vain. The residents' vote signaled and has activated recapitalization activities through the trust at Nostrand. In my 18 years of public service, I have not felt deeper sense of accountability and responsibility until we got the certified vote in the email. We are grateful to Nostrand residents for their confidence in our team, and we're looking forward to this partnership. I would be remiss not to thank our board member, Barbara McFadden, who took a central role in advocating for the trust in the early days and continues to work in partnership with our new organization. I'm grateful for your energy and your time.
Thank you.
In the next 2 weeks, the Trust is planning to hold its first meeting at Nostrand Houses to outline major upcoming activities and discuss with residents potential avenues for collaboration and partnership. Guided by the feedback from many advocacy groups and housing organizations, our intention is to craft a strategic plan with residents that serves the needs of the community. We also will be establishing a regular cadence of meetings for updates on our progress. So what's next? Over the next 1.5 to 2 years, it's important for everyone to remember that although the trust is activated and will be present at Nostrand, NYCHA will continue to run day-to-day operations. My team will be developing a financing package. And toward the end of that process, we'll be working with residents to transition leases from Section 9 to Section 8. Site investigations and apartment inspections will start soon, following by scope finalization and vendor selection. And in this process, our plan is to set meaningful collaborations with residents in the areas of design, vendor selection, needs assessment for social services, and improved operations and maintenance. Thank you, and this concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is so incredibly exciting. I don't know if anyone has any questions. If not, we can move on to the second action item, but it looks like we do have questions or comments.
I just wanted to make a comment. I wanted to tip my hat to the entire trust team and the NYCHA team. I think the day that the votes were validated and certified, tears were in many people's eyes, and those were tears of joy. I want to echo appreciation for Ms. McFadden's leadership throughout this process, and as the timeline shows, this is just the beginning, and so look forward to the work of the trust to make good on the commitments that have been made and to ensure that the execution of this initiative meets the standards that I know you all have. So congratulations to everyone on the board and with the trust.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Torres Springer. Anyone else? Okay,
Actually, I'll say something.
Board Member Blondell.
I just want to say that a lot of people were skeptical about the 20% threshold, but I have confidence in the residents at the New York City Housing Authority that they do care about their homes, that they can make these decisions if educated and given an opportunity to hear all that they need to hear. And I just want to really say that number of 58% of the residents showing up was really an amazing number. And I want the residents to know that they should really congratulate themselves and continue to learn and grow as we transform New York City Housing Authority in various ways. So thank you and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Board Member Blondell. If there are no other comments, we will move on to the other action items on the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The second action item on today's agenda is the adoption of the revised procurement policy of the Trust. I will present that item. I am honored to present the revised procurement policy of the Trust. As we started working through the procurement policy, we assessed that the procurement policy adopted at the November 22-23 board meeting should be amended to include the additional criteria for board approval for procurements, dispute resolution, and revisions for clarity. Procurement is the bread and butter of the Trust and will continue to evolve as we work through various procurements. We believe that the revised procurement policy, which we have developed, combines the flexibility of the Trust Act with best practices. Regarding criteria for board approval for procurements, the board will approve contracts when One, the general counsel recommends approval. When contracts are of high value, 1 million or 10% of the trust budget, or capital projects using alternate delivery methods. Regarding dispute resolutions, the board has adopted a dispute resolution for contract disputes. The dispute resolution procedure requires arbitration for disputes below 5 million and litigation for disputes over 5 million. Regarding revisions for clarity, we clarified the concept of sole source contracting as it receives one responsive bid to a competitive procurement, and a black line of the revised procurement policy is included in the board materials. We will report on all contracts over $20,000 bi-monthly to the board. The first contract report is included in the board materials.
Unless there are any questions, I move that the board adopt this resolution adopting the revised procurement policy of the trust.
Aye.
Is that a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Barbara. All in favor say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Are there any nays or abstentions? Please raise your hand. The revised procurement policy of the trust is adopted. The third action item on today's agenda is the adoption of the Trust Shared Services and Shared Facilities Agreement with NYCHA, which President Kniff has reported on. The Trust and NYCHA have negotiated a Shared Services and Shared Facilities Agreement for a 10-year term for approval by the Board of Trustees. The agreement covers the following agreed-upon terms. 1. NYCHA provision of regular operational services for core trust operations, including accounting and treasury, human resources, IT support and supply management, IT software licenses and hardware. 2, the trust use and occupancy of the NYCHA facility at 90 Church Street, these offices. 3, discretionary operational services that can be added at the request of the trust. And 4, reimbursement of NYCHA of one-time startup services for the trust prior to the appointment of its officers. Details of the scope of services and cost methodologies are included in the board materials. Unless there are any questions, we ask that the board adopt the resolution adopting the Trust Shared Services and Shared Facilities Agreement with NYCHA. Please let the record reflect that Chair Bova Hyatt and Trustee Anika Lescott Martinez have abstained from this vote. Is there a motion?
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay. Are there any abstentions besides Chair Bova Hyatt and Trustee Anika Lescott Martinez? Please raise your hand. The Trust Shared Services and Shared Facilities Agreement with NYCHA is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no other comments or business to be done, I move that the fourth meeting of the Board of Trustees of the New York City Public Housing Preservation Trust be adjourned.
Is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The meeting is adjourned at 10:45 a.m.